Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode, the June 2025 episode of Flight Training the Way I See It. This is the video podcast and newsletter for this month. So we're going to cover today something about FAA NOTAMs. There's a modernization webinar which was scheduled and was canceled, but there's another one coming. So you have a chance maybe to attend this event if we get the newsletter and the podcast out before Monday the 30th. We're also going to give you an update on my work with and the work on the update for FAA's Part 141 modernization, basically the rewrite of Part 141, let you know what's going on there. And then we're going to talk after that about the FAA has already clarified real ID policies for check rides. So getting into that. And finally, well, not finally, but one of the other topics we'll discuss is our Private Pilot ACS SmartStudy Pro is getting closer to release. We suspect that's going to happen here sometime in July. There was some editing snafus, so we lost some editing that was done on a USB drive that wasn't backed up correctly. So anyway, what happened there. So about 10 videos have to be re-edited. So it will take at least about a week to do. And then after that, the other packaging will come. So anyway, but my audio is all good. So all of the stuff I did for it is fine. It wasn't damaged. So that's that. And then we've got some pro tips for you. So we'll get started. Let's kick this thing off. It is summertime in South Florida, and we are in the middle, well, not the middle, the very beginning of hurricane and tropical storm season. So hopefully that will blow by us like it did mostly last year, but one never knows. So anyway, we'll see it. That's the worst time of year for us, of course, and it's hot. Hot is the word. And I go out every day 4 miles about. And so anyway, it's hot. It's got to be hot. That's it. Okay, let's move on. Let's talk about this FAA webinar on NOTAMs, the modernization. I got an email maybe a month ago or maybe less than that. It was about the FAA is going to conduct a webinar basically on modernizing NOTAMs. That's been on the front burner now. It was on the back burner. Now it's back on the front burner. And so they're going to discuss what they're doing about that. And it was scheduled for the 26th of June. That's passed already, right? You know that already. 26th of June, 2025. But I got an email about 15 minutes before the meeting started, maybe 30, and said, oh, we've canceled it, and we're going to do it on Monday, June 30th. And you can look on Google. I'm sure you'll find it. If you just put in NOTAMs Modernization Webinar, FAA, something like that, you'll find it. It is 12:30 to 1:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, EDT. So in the newsletter, I put a link in there, but I don't have that ability to do on audio, so you have to go find it. But that will be just an hour long, and I think we'll have some updates, of course, in the next newsletter of what happened there, okay? Now let's look at the update on FAA's Part 141 modernization effort. So as most of you know, I sit on a committee and in 3 subcommittees that are part of that committee. And I want to say that the 4th meeting is scheduled, the global meetings from FAA, July the 10th through 11th. It's a virtual meeting, and there's usually about 100 people in attendance. And this meeting is going to continue the group work that we've been sharing ideas and sort of providing the recommendations and suggestions for current 141 problems and then how we're going to rewrite it. So I sit on 3 groups. One involves use of technology and receiving credit for it, so additions in that. The other group focuses on CFI qualifications for the Part 141, and then I also sit on curriculum and training methods. So those are the 3 inputs I have into the whole thing, and that's going along well. We meet usually once a week, and we do that via Zoom typically, and the next meeting will be virtual, and after that it will be a meeting. I believe it's going to be in Dallas. I think it's going to be in Dallas after that. That'll be the August or September meeting, and the last meeting, it's unclear. It's either going to be El Segundo, which is a Los Angeles area, or it might be Dallas in the middle ground. So we'll see. Now, a shout out to FASANA, Flight School Association of North America. They did a pretty good job in their newsletter of detailing the main points of the meeting. And currently, the current takeaway is the need to implement a safety management system, an SMS, or a QMS, quality management system, into Part 141. Now, this is already an ICAO requirement. It's required by ICAO, which is the governing body of aviation, International Civil Aviation Organization. And the FAA is not currently compliant with that under Part 141. So they're working on a waiver from this requirement until it can be implemented. So they're aware of it, and it was caught, actually I think it was self-reported. The other things were caught in a USOP, which is basically an ICAO audit that happens every once in a while. So anyway, everybody's aware of it, and so my issues with it are about larger flight schools. Maybe they've got great ideas. Don't get me wrong; I'm all for them. They want to change and put. They want to have layered 141 tiers. So you start off at maybe tier 1, you go to tier 4, depending on the type of work you do, what systems you have in place, maybe how many airplanes, how many people you put through, those kind of things. And then in those tiers, there are certain privileges that come with them. One is, maybe the example is not having to have an inspector come out and inspect your paperwork all the time. Maybe that can just be done electronically, and you fix it as you go. You don't need FSDO's approval for that because you have a quality management system in place, a QMS. I guess it's worth talking about what the difference between an SMS and a QMS is. ICAO requires a QMS system, an SMS system, not QMS. That means safety management system. And they are very, very, very generic in what that means. It basically means there needs to be some way to track the quality. That's about all they say about it. Other schools use the word QMS and SMS to maintain the same thing, but they're not. So a SMS is like you could think of it as in its lowest form. It would be a system where I could go to and I could get data and I could say how many people passed, how many people failed on my students in my school. And maybe I'm the chief pilot. And I'm saying, were all these from the same instructor? I could see that, right? I can see that data. How many hours did we fly? How many accidents or incidents did we have? What airports did we add or subtract on our list of places we can go? So that would be kind of a reactive approach to the data, I suppose. But we're reacting to something that's happening, ongoing. And QMS is quality management system, and it goes a little further than that because it has some predictive capability. So let's say based on this and this and this happening, we're on a risk model or something on it, we can basically say that what we need to do is change the curriculum over here so we don't let that happen yet. So it can go farther, right? And data-driven approaches are always good things. But my deal with it is I don't mind that approach at all. I just want it to be able to fit the lowest common denominator. That is a school that has 2 CFIs, 1 airplane. Right? I need to have SMS, not QMS. I need to have an SMS system there that I can go into like Flight Schedule Pro. I can pull data into a spreadsheet and do some sort of analysis on it without spending a ton of money. I already have something I'm running the school on. So chances are it's something like Flight Schedule Pro or something of that nature. And then I just need to get the data out so I can look at it. I don't need to incur like a lot of expense. And I don't need to like employ an IT service or department. Now, the larger schools, of course, have that already. They have an IT department already. They've got many people working in it. So, they're gung-ho to do that, and they want the regulations sort of to go that way. And I don't necessarily have anything terrible to say about that, but I wanted to be sure that when I voiced my opinion, which was when I was speaking, I was speaking for me and someone else who we were on the same page on that. I said, hey, I understand this is all great stuff. Don't get me wrong. Everybody's doing the right thing here. But let's not forget about the little guy. Let's not forget about we want to get people, entice them to become Part 141 schools, not put barriers up and not put extra expense up. We can do this at a lowest tier, but the lowest tier needs to have examining authority or a way to get it. So, and we need to make that that will entice all the people that we need. So if you can get examining authority at a lower tier, great. So, and other perks that come along with that. So we're trying to get the FSDOs less involved, trying to set up a national office that would just do that sort of stuff, 141 experts, right? And relieve the POIs, the principal operating inspectors, of having to travel out to schools and do surveillance and just to check all the boxes, right? That can be done nationally. And I don't know if you know how that goes, but the FSDO has a manager, office manager, and every day they run risk assessment. And they look at all the tasks they have to do for that day. And they say which ones are going to impact safety the most, and those are the ones the inspectors do that day. There's only so many things that can be done in a day, and I can tell you that certification of airmen is the bottom rung. Certifying a new person or getting someone through a 141 program or doing a check ride for a chief pilot or assistant chief is not anywhere on the big old safety thing. It's there, but it's not high. Accidents, of course, are first. Surveillance, enforcement, those things are going to be first. And then eventually, it'll get to the inspector's desk. And we're talking sometimes months, setting for just a small change on a document or a check airman qualification or something, and sometimes it could be more than a year, especially for initial certification. So we're trying to get all that moved over. That's the idea. But I'm very, very keen on making sure we don't make SMS, Safety Management System, and QMS mean the same thing. I want those to stand alone, entirely different. If you have a QMS system, good on you. But all you need is an SMS system to be in Part 141. Okay, I kind of ranted about that, but you can see I'm kind of passionate about that. So when I did mention that in the meeting, it was like crickets were in the room after I said it. No one said anything. It was as if I was saying something way off topic. It's like, what is he talking about? I'm like, well, what I'm talking about is when we're small operators, I don't want to have to say, well, my school now has to be compared with who? Currently, a 141 school is a 141 school. Amarillo, UND, Vermont State University, all 141 schools and fine schools, right? Let's just say that. But I have to now sell myself against some things, and sometimes I can say, well, I'm not a university, so therefore I can't deliver that for you. If you need to do that, but when it comes to the 141-ish stuff, I need to be a player. And I mean my small operators to be players too. I don't need them to be cast into a tier which they'll never be able to achieve, right? Or it will be too prohibitive to achieve. So that's my rant on it. But we've got great people in there. We've got Ken Burns, who runs department chair for Amarillo, and there's also department chair running flight operations at UND, and just many good people. So, and I understand their data-driven approach. I totally get it. I just want to be sure that there's room for the small guys, and we're weighing it enough to say, you really want to be a 141 school, and here's what you get, right? And it's not some light version, right? That's what I'm concerned about. So anyway, that's what I'm on about. Now let's talk about the FAA clarifying the Real ID policy for check rides. So lately, some DPEs have been refusing to accept state-issued IDs, such as driver's licenses and ID cards, for practical tests, unless they're Real ID compliant. And even the FSDOs have made that order in some places, I've heard. I know. So this resulted in many people losing their test slots and having to reschedule. The results, this results in more anxiety for the applicant because they already lost a night of sleep. Now it looks like they're going to lose another one. And they're losing their test slots have to be rescheduled. So now we need to find an additional one for something that should not have really happened. So finally, and these test slots are like a month or more away, some even longer than that. So the issue there is now the poor applicant's got to spend more time and money to stay current because you don't want to go into a test cold, right? You want to be pretty fresh on the stuff. So anyway, finally the FAA clarified its position on Real IDs to DPEs, and they clarified it by saying Real ID compliant IDs are not required for ID purposes for a practical test. The notification was delivered in the Designee Management System, which is called DMS, and it said the Real ID Act of 2005 does not apply to the issuance of a certificate rating or authorization under 14 CFR. And FAA and DPs may continue to accept driver's licenses that are not Real ID compliant. And more will come from that. But that's been disseminated to all DPEs and FSDOs through the DMS system. So there's that. Not pretty good. All right, we got to win in that department, didn't we? The next thing we've got is our Private Pilot ACS SmartStudy Pro is getting closer to release. We are nearing the release of the latest product. We have to do some video editing, as I've told you. And this product, the idea behind this product, I guess, is to utilize commuting time. Drives to the airport as you're going to a lesson, from the airport, before, after a lesson, or any other time where watching video really kind of isn't allowed. So all the areas of operation and all tasks, including oral and flight maneuvers in the Private Pilot ACS, are covered. So we took every task, every knowledge, risk element, and skill and presented what you need to know about this in audio form, right? And we actually did record video because it was available. I could do it. But I was concentrated on describing things in audio, so video wasn't necessary. So in many cases, I could have just said, well, look at this figure. But now you have no figure to look at, so I have to be more descriptive in what I'm saying. So that's fine. So I did all that. That's finished now. And so, and then there's PDF companions for all of those lessons, which have images, maybe some Like, for example, I could in the performance and limitation sections, I can describe how to interpolate things or how to use what pressure altitude is and all that. But it's very difficult for you not to have something there in front of you to get the whole Monty, right? To get it all. So what I did was I provided worked examples, for example for the weight and balance shifts, that kind of thing, which is difficult to describe in words. We can get mostly there, but we can't get all the way there. And so those are in the PDF companions, along with images from the PHAC, Airplane Flying Handbook, or whatever that is. Now, we'll be offering this product when it releases at half off. I'm not sure what the price is going to be, but it's going to be half off. And you need to leave your email address. And if you... we will put it in the next newsletter. As soon as it releases, we're going to make sure that our newsletter people, Power Hour people, have a chance to take advantage of this offer. So you won't be left out. Because right now, if I put it in the newsletter, there'd be a link right in there. You can click onto it, and it's not fair if you're on a podcast going, I wish I had the link right now. So we'll make sure that we get that out to you, and we tell you how you can get the offer, okay? When it releases. But right now, we just need to say it's coming. So now if you're a CFI right now, this product is really going to help your students because it helps them prepare for the lesson you're going to do, because it's going to go right through the ACS on that. It also is going to cover all the risk elements, the knowledge elements, and the skills. And then it will be also checkride polish, right? It's like, let's go through the course. Let's get ready for the test. What didn't you understand? Or what do you understand, right? That's good yet. So anyway, you don't have a release date yet, but we're expecting it to occur in July. Okay, and the last thing we need to do is cover our pro tips. So here's something. Pro tip number 1 is if you're in training and you want to get a real idea of where your aeronautical knowledge is for any certificate or rating, do this. Number 1, don't use any test prep yet. Use nothing. Don't look at the book. Don't look at the iPad app. Don't look at any of those questions and answers, not one of them. Then complete all of your online or ground school part that you're taking. So if you're taking an online course, finish all that. If you're taking a ground school, finish all that, right? And then hopefully those things don't also include test prep with them. I prefer you to get knowledge first, and let's test your knowledge, right? So after that's all done, take 2 practice tests without doing any test prep or seeing any questions and answers. This is a reflection of your actual knowledge then, right? So then give these to your CFI, and then also self-prep on your weak areas. Right, this is going to really help you because your CFI can, during the course, I think that person would benefit from doing another cross-country right here, or doing this because of the results, right, or getting the weather, or having me help them use these new ForeFlight features, or whatever these things are, right? But if you know the questions and answers ahead of time, I don't know. Well, first, I don't know how that makes you proud. I got a 98 on my FOI. I got a 98. Well, because how can you not get a 98? If you know all the test questions and answers, it's not a test. But if you use it in this way, then it can truly measure. And you say there's some test bias in there because FAA may ask weird things off and on. But in general, it's going to test your knowledge pretty well. And then, so then after that, of course, use test prep to optimize your score and be proud of your 98%, 99%, 100% that you got. Right? I suppose. Right? So there's that. Pro tip number 2, something new, is ForeFlight has a new camera layer, if you didn't know that. So ForeFlight has integrated all available FAA cameras at airports, mountain passes, and other locations into the app. So on the Maps tab, if you're on ForeFlight, choose Layers, like where the radar and everything is, and then choose Cameras. You'll then see all the FAA cameras located on the map, and you can just press on them. Right? And also in the airport's view, if there's a camera there, like lately I've been looking at what was called Barrow, Alaska before. We talk about that for determining civil twilight. It's now currently never dark. And so you can look onto the camera there and see it, right? So that's interesting. Interesting thing. So anyway, now you'll need to be sure that your ForeFlight app is up to date because this just came out long ago. And if you haven't updated ForeFlight in a while, you may not see it in the options under the layers there, okay? So just be aware of that. Also now to get training questions, like answers to your CFI training questions, I'd recommend you join the CFI study group on Facebook. It has about 8,000 members and many, many very experienced CFIs there to answer posts. I'm one of them, along with many other. Greg Brown's another one. There's Michael Phillips. There's many, many people who are just outstanding individuals, right, who'd help for free. This doesn't cost you anything. And additionally, there's a free Zoom meeting. It's held every Tuesday, and it's from 4 to 6 p.m. Pacific time. And you can get the link for that when you join the group. It'll be under events on your Facebook app. It'll be under the CFI study group. You'll see events. And Dorothy Schick, who runs it, usually posts the link there so you can get in. And then that's usually, most of the time, it's open forum. Just ask questions, whatever you want. Sometimes they're like last time we had Jonathan, who was an airline pilot for Horizon, going through the process of how that was going and what the limitations were, how easy or hard it was, and how someone could do a better job at prepping now to get ready for that. And other times I've been on there before, we've had Greg Brown talking about turbine airplanes and then teaching people how to fly, how to land, all that stuff comes up. And really good people on there. So anyway, that's what I would say. It's a great resource for anyone training to become a CFI, or just CFIs who have questions about FARs, endorsements, the ACS as things come up, because there's excellent resources within there. Well, we're to the end of the road. I think that's about it. It was a little bit short. Was it short? Probably don't know how many minutes until I edited it. But I'd say about 20 or so minutes. So I'll get on this NOTAMs thing and keep you posted on that and let you know what happens if you aren't able to attend that. And then I'll keep you posted on the Private Pilot ACS SmartStudy Pro, so you don't lose out on an opportunity if you're looking to do something like that, or maybe your student could benefit from that, okay? That's all I got for you this June 2025, and that's the end of Flight Training the Way I See It.